Чтобы он услышал от меня эти слова при всех.
This is a message for Dave. For him, you're his hero and idol. So he just wanted to tell you that sitting next to you at this table means a lot to him. So thank you so much for being with us this year.
I don't miss, I don't play none, I don't diss, I don't say none. I go swish, that's an A1. I eat steak with no A1. Tell the chef, I said thanks to the time.
Good morning. I am in the RV. I figured I'd show you what this looks like real quick, and then we're gonna head out because the individuals are starting soon. I actually overslept. I thought I set an alarm and I did not. So we're not gonna have much of the teams this morning. I will try to catch them later today, but individual men start soon, so we're gonna head in for that. But first, I'll show you this little RV. So you walk in, that's my bed right there. This is where Jamie Lee, programmer for PRs All Day, is sleeping. Over here, we have this little bunk bed situation. Tyler Watkins, the creator of the Heat 1 app, he is sleeping down there. This is a second bunk bed, but it's most just being used for storage because there's only 3 of us here, and I heard that it's like kind of weird. So we didn't put anyone there. And then in here, we have a small little restroom with pretty much everything you need. We're showering the other area, but there's a shower in here and a sink and a toilet. So it works. I'm pretty pleased with the little setup and being so close to the venue. This is the outside RV area. We've got some music going. I'm not sure if you can hear that. Those white RVs you see over there, that's the restrooms and the showers. And then over here, we have the entrance to the Coliseum. You can see it right there. All right, headed over for event 4 for the individuals. We're starting with the men today, and I'm going over for the first heat, which is of 20 athletes. And part of the reason I'm going over is because our reigning champ, Justin Medeiros, should be in that first heat. Yesterday, I would have thought he would have been in one of the earlier heats, not the top heat, because of where he placed in semis. I think he finished 5th at his semifinal, but he was in the top heat. I think that's gotta be because he is a prior champ, but today, because seeding is based on where you finished on day 1, he should be in the first heat of 20 athletes. He's in 22nd right now, so we're gonna go check him out. He'll probably be near in the middle and see if he can climb his way up the leaderboard. You think that spinning globe will go to wherever the new location is of the CrossFit Games? I'm not sure if that's part of the Align Energy Center or this event.
Stand by.
Stay low, stay low. Let's go, Noah.
Baby girl love my bop and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Hating on the pen, don't stop, they ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so why I need you. Baby girl love my bop and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Hating on the pen, don't stop, they ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so why I need you. Big flex, my swole up. Double cup and I'm pulled up. Hating like hold up. What's the problem? I'm pulled up. Big flex, my swole up. Hard body, they fold up.
Roman Krennikov for the Professor Brent Bukowski.
So I think I saw Roman stop once, and I thought, oh, if he only needed to stop once, and he didn't need to stop because he was going to win it, all right? I know I cannot. I can just keep going, and it burned like hell, but...
It looked like this one hurt worse than this version last year.
I don't know, I mean, you know, obviously when you push a sled that relies mostly on friction, it's, you know, the friction that matters, and so, you know, slight changes in the surface, whether that's the heat or the water, it was way harder than last year to push that thing. Slowed it down, it was good fun.
Nice work, Brent.
Just taking a quick break here in the shade before I head over to the women's version of the Alpaca Redo. But I was just watched the men, and I was looking at the men's leaderboard from last year. So Roman Krennikov won this year, and he also won that same event last year, and he did it in a fairly dominating way. Brent Fikowski was slightly behind him, getting closer at times, but in the last round, it didn't look like Brent was going to be able to catch him. He did not. Roman took the win pretty easily. Jack Farlow in Heat 1 actually came in second overall, and then Brent Fikowski third. I imagine Justin Medeiros probably is top 5 or between top 5 and 7 in that event. So that's actually a pretty good finish for Justin too. But I thought it was interesting that Roman won that event in 2022 without the rope climb because of the rain event that we had. They had to cut the rope climbs last year. This year, it's the redo of it. They're doing it the way they had intended it to be done in 2022. And it ended up with the same result on the men's side, Roman winning. So on the women's side, Laura Horvath won the event. It'll be interesting to see if she can repeat. We're about to go see that with the rope climbs. Now, even though Laura is a bigger athlete, rope climbs are something she's good at, and she has a rock climbing background, so that upper body pulling is something that she excels at. Upper body pushing, we know, is not great. We saw her fall a couple times in the handstand push-up event last night, but pulling is just a totally different mechanical movement compared to pushing, and she's much better at the pulling, much better at the hanging, so I think there is a chance she could win this event again, but I sort of expect a different female winner. But we'll see. It was the same male winner on the men's side, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out on the women's side and how it compares. But Roman killed it. He had his interpreter come out, and it's funny because most of the other athletes don't have interpreters, so they're not getting like the assistance that Roman's getting. I saw the interpreter like put ice on his back, which is nice. But then I was looking over at Brent Fikowski, who finished second, and he's just like dying by the fan all alone because he doesn't have anybody to come out and assist him like Roman does because he has an interpreter. But some of the athlete control people did come by and give him a wet cloth too, Brent. So he does have some help, but it's just different when you have an interpreter who's like one person designated for you and to assist you with communication, but it ends up being, I think, a little bit more than that. But I like his interpreter from when I've interacted with her, and I'm happy to see Roman in first. It's pretty cool. He's definitely going to be wearing the leader jersey for Event 5 after winning Event 4 and already being in first. So it's going to be an interesting day. We'll see how Alexis Rapstis does on this workout. She's great at upper body pushing. She's some of the best when it comes to handstand push-ups, but pulling, not bad at, but I just don't know if she's quite as dominant with the pulling as she is with pushing. We'll see if she can maintain the leader jersey after this, especially with someone like Laura, who won this event last year, only in 7th and only so many points away from getting back up to that first place position. This is a cool event. It's cool to have a redo so close together, but also it's not quite a redo because we had the rope climbs taken out of it last year, but they're here this year. That's the fittest woman near this field right now, not even on it, fitter than the women on it. There's Tia Claire Toomey with her baby. I believe her name is Willow. Looks like she's fanning her. Cool to see Tia here.
Stand by.
Ladies.
I told her meet me in the back, that I fat, and she don't know how to act. When she back that thing up on the it's a wrap. I'm just trying to hit it once, I'ma take it to the back. Think she came in with a man, but she leaving with me, yeah. Cause she know that I'm the man. Said she got a plan, and she know me from the gram. Oh man, I think she might could be a fan. Made me think twice, so it might could be a scam. Oh yeah, might be fire. But one thing I hate is a liar. Cause I don't know who you was prior. Tryna set it
Yeah, well, Adam directly coaches her, so he has probably more detailed data as to where he thought we should finish, but she took 10th last year, 3 people were out of the field, she's way better, so we knew if she executed, she could be in the mix. first is, I don't know, just a surprise to ever see somebody you're close to winning, but we know she can, so it's cool to see that she's still there right now.
Have you talked to her? How is she feeling?
She seems to be feeling good. She seems healthy, happy, ready to compete. She looks good out there.
What do you think of this event and compare it to last year?
It was solid, but it was a way different workout, I think. Last year, I remember in preparation with her training, I get like 1 or 2 training sessions a week that I write, and we exposed her to the heavy kettlebells in training for the first time ever before the games. Now she's way stronger, so I think her like confidence level and grunt work is just way higher, and she finished 5th, so it worked.
All the way in the back.
Thank you.
We just finished up event 4 for the women, and my prediction was correct. There was a different winner for the alpaca redo than there was for alpaca last year, but I believe Laura Horvath came in second in the event, and she kind of came from behind to get second. She was out in front initially and fell back a little bit in the pack. Who was in front for a lot of it was Alex Kazan, and she was looking fantastic, had so much time to finish the event and win that sled push at the end. She just like kind of fell apart. She took off her shoes and her socks on the field because she was slipping, but I'm guessing the turf is hot. I mean, it was really hot out there. The turf is pretty hot, and probably was hot on her feet, and she put her shoes back on to do it. There was someone yelling behind me, like, put on your shoes. I don't know what was going on there. I don't think it was the best idea. But she ended up finishing, I think, 3rd after that because Emma Tall snuck in, did really well on that push at the end. Then Laura Horvath came out of nowhere and pushed that sled easily. And I think then Alex Kazan finished. So it was an interesting event. It'll be interesting to see how it changes up the leaderboard, but Alexis Raptis, who was in first place going into that event, did finish that event, and the event was very different for the men than it was for the women. So for the women, this alpaca redo, most of them didn't finish. The first heat, no one finished. It was almost a little bit boring to watch because you couldn't tell where anyone was because no one was coming to the finish line. They were just all throughout the event, so you didn't know who was first or where first was. But the second heat was good. We had a couple finishers, so that was good, including, like I said, Alexis Raptis, who was in first, and that's going to be a pretty high finish for her and possibly keep her there. So it'll be interesting to see how the leaderboard shakes out after this. Alexis Raptis could still be in first. It's been a good weekend so far. Be excited to see what happens in the next event. And we have cuts looming tonight, which will be interesting to talk about at the end of this video. But for now, I found chicken tenders, and it took like no time to get these, and when I got my chicken teriyaki with rice yesterday, it took like 40 minutes of waiting online. So this, it's a win for me.
Start the year off with autoimmune diagnosis.
Stand by.
We're gonna wrap up both the women's and the men's ski bag because I don't really get a chance to talk to you guys in between when I am down on the floor in the Coliseum. So we'll start with the men because they went first. So Colton Mertens won the event, and kind of crazy because he is a very good squatter and a very fast squatter, has good turnover on the squats. But the skier tends to favor a bigger athlete, and that's not Colton Mertens. He's, 5'4"? So he's one of he is the smallest athlete competing at the games this year, at least by height, and he smashed that, took an event win. It brought him all the way up to 11th place. I was talking to someone who does some of the video stuff for him, and he was saying that he thought this event was going to be really important for him to make sure he makes the cuts, not the cuts tonight to 30, because obviously he's in 11th, but to make the cuts to 20, because he was thinking it might be between him and Jelle Hoste, who is in 10th now, so I don't think it's going to be between either of them, actually. We'll see. But he was sort of thinking ahead to Saturday night, and with the 5K coming up, he knows that Jelle is going to do better than him in that avenue, because he's taller, longer stride, he's good at those cardio things. So Colton wanted to do well here, and a first place pretty dang well. Although looking at some of the points, like Jelle is ahead of him in 10th with 303, Colton has 302, and then right behind Colton, Justin Medeiros, who got a 3rd place finish in ski bag, and he's in 12th overall with 1 point less than Colton has in 11th and 2 points less than Jelle has in 10th. So a lot of movement from Justin Medeiros. The thing is, he will likely make it back into the top 10, but to actually make the podium, that's where the points start to get a little bit tighter. Although, you look at Justin, right? I'm looking at it right now. After event 5, he has 301 points, and Chandler Smith, who is in 2nd right now, has 350. So that's only 49-point difference. It actually is pretty tight between 2nd and, 14th, really. Between 2nd and 14th, there are 296 to 350, 54 points. So it's real tight on the men's side, except for Roman Krenikov, who has 455 points. He has worst event in the ski bag event, which surprised me. I thought, he's strong and a good skier, but I just think maybe it's so fast. I don't know. Wasn't his best showing, but 9th being his worst place so far. It's not a bad year for Roman so far. And right now he is up 105 points on Chandler Smith. That's essentially a whole event. The most points you get in an event is 100 points. He's up by 105 right now. So he could sit out an entire event and still be in first place. Of course he won't, but that's just how significant his lead is going into event 6 this evening. So Roman putting on a show, and I think a lot of people are excited to see it. There were so many years there we didn't know what was going on with Roman because he couldn't get a visa to actually compete here in the United States, and he looked really good in online competitions. We're like, is this guy very good? I mean, his first year at the games, he finished 2nd, and might finish 1st his 2nd year. So Roman's pretty impressive and kind of a crowd favorite. Moving over to the women's side, and let's see if we have an updated leaderboard, and we do. So the winner of the ski bag event was Laurel Horvath. I was watching the event, and I'm like, she's gonna beat the best time by a minute. And she beat it, I believe, by like a minute 15 in an event that was only 4 minutes and 36 seconds for her. That's a huge, huge win. She was alone on the floor doing her 2nd set of squats. All the other athletes were still on the ski erg, and she was squatting away. So super impressive by Laura, and she is now gonna wear the leader jersey going into Helena, whatever the event is tonight that is a variation of Helen. She will be wearing the leader jersey going into it. 2nd is the same athlete that was in 2nd going into the ski bag event. That is Emma Lawson. Alexis Raptis was 1st going into the ski bag event. She is now in 4th place after taking a 37th on that event. Alexis Raptis is not a strong squatter. I think she's talked about that before. And I think that heavy 125-pound sandbag just kind of got to her. She's got overall, her placements, she was a 5th, 3rd, 5th, and then a 37th. So really hurt her, but still in a podium hunt. She's only, what, 30-some points out of 35 points out of first place. So still very solid. Annie Thorsdottir sitting in 5th. I believe she was 5th going into the event. And if you look at her finishes, 11th, 8th, 12th, 9th, 13th, really impressive. So we talked about first, Laura Horvath, second, Emma Lawson, third, Alex Gazan, who had 2 really great events today, finishing 3rd and 2nd, 3rd in the alpaca redo and 2nd in the ski bag. So really, really great day for Alex Gazan. Ariel Lowen's in 6th too. Gabby Magala has made her way up to 8th before we go into the final event today. So a lot of really interesting placements and a lot of movement going on. And I was watching Katrin in heat 3, the second to last heat. 3. Katrin was moving really well. She was first to the second set of squats, and Andrew Hiller was standing next to me, and I'm like, Andrew, watch Olivia Kerstetter. Olivia Kerstetter overtook her and finished in 3rd place in that event. So very impressed with the young 17-year-old sitting in 15th overall. She has some up and down finishes. She has a 5th in that pig chipper, a 3rd in the ski bag, and then she has the inverted medley with a 34th and alpaca redo at 32nd. So she's sort of up and down, but she's a rookie and could have been a teen athlete this year. So still very impressive. I'm gonna go down to the cut line just to take a glance at some of those athletes. So Shelby Neal is currently in 29th, Fee Sagafi is in 28th, Sydney Wells in 27th. Those are all athletes that are gonna have pretty good finishes on the Helena workout. Kelly Baker is in 30th right now, holding that last position. So Shelby Neal in 29th and Kelly Baker in 30th are have the same number of points. So kind of comes down to a tiebreaker there. Then Ella Wunger, who is one of the few people that finished the ski bag event, finishing 4th. She's in 31st right now. Abby Domit was actually in the top 30 and finished 36th in the ski bag. So it'll be interesting to see how Helena changes things up tonight. And that's what we'll see next.
Stand by.
I don't miss, I don't play none, I don't diss, I don't say none. I go switch, that's an A1. I stay with no A1. Tell the chef, I said thanks, tell I'm in the bank. Tell my mom I'm living good, tell my kids don't stress a thing. I go back to back on the drops, drop a lot, and she packed the bags. She shot till we drop. I just wake up, I don't say none. I'm on go, I don't stay long. I've been up now, that's a case wine. I've been down too, like the day strong. I got summertime. Up and beat them. These bags, you can't believe them. I never saw the country, but the money comes from Sweden. I meet them, then I leave them. I wake up, fight my demons. I never grew my circle. I can't trust you with my freedom. Get me locked down, keep you locked out. Only when it's here, you look pop now. I get drops now, on the top now. In the wintertime, still go top down. I get free. I don't go bust and I go plain Jane, watch me ski. Yeah, I see you now, I could tell you watching me. I go ghost, but tell me I'm more like his lead. Rockstar, baby, turn pop star. I don't miss, I don't play none, I don't diss, I don't say
Okay, let's wrap up this very long day we just had a press conference, which you'll see right after this, but I figured I would talk about the event and the footage you just saw first, and then you can watch the press conference. You may have saw a bit of it at the beginning of this video. So Helena, I'm gonna go with Helena because it sounds more like Helen, and these are all variations of Helen. Every age group division did a variation of Helen this year, and the elite version was Helena, which turned pull-ups into bar muscle-ups and kettlebell swings into dumbbell snatches. So fun event. They ran outside, so they had a drone follow them. It was some really cool footage, and it was exciting. So on the women's side, which we saw first for the elites, it was a little bit weird how they did it for ESPN, but we saw the elite top women go before the elite top men. We saw all the rest of the men go first. Weird. Anyway, Laura Horvath, who was wearing the leader jersey for her first time this weekend, was out in front at the beginning and ended up falling off quite a bit, which I think sort of makes sense for the event. It's, I think, a little bit of a lighter person's event between the running and the bar muscle-ups, and shorter person between the dumbbell snatches. So Laura Horvath, who was in first going into the event, is now back in third, which she was in before she won ski bag, and she finished 15th in Helena. First was Jamie Simmons, and she actually did that in the prior heat. Let's see, Jamie sits in 6th now, so she worked her way up with that first place finish, and it looked hard to do that for Jamie because Jamie was way ahead of the rest of the field, so there was no one to really push her. She just had to hit that gas pedal and keep it down on her own, and I was watching her do the run. I'm like, she's suffering still, and it's impressive that she didn't let up a little bit, but she knew there was another heat, the top heat, coming. So in first, though, we have someone who was in first at the very beginning of the women weekend for the women, and that is Emma Lawson. She won event 1, that was ride, so she had the leader's jersey for that one, and then she's sort of been in the top 10 throughout the weekend, 3, 5, but now she is back in first, and she'll be wearing that leader jersey again, so it'll be exciting to see her there. She was in the press conference and talked a little bit about how this is what she's been focused on, you know, getting that leader jersey back. Alexis Raptis, who had that leader jersey earlier and was in third going into Helena, is now back in second. So we've seen a lot of shifting around on the women's side, and I think that makes it super exciting. And there are a little bit of a points differential. So in first, Emma Lawson is at 477, and Alexis Raptis is at 458. So that's 19 points, but that can easily be made up in an event. We've seen that happen. And Laura Horvath is just 1 point behind her in third. So there's a lot that can happen. And 7 points back is Alexis Kazan. Ariel Lowen is still within, you know, reach of the podium. So are a lot of these athletes, to be honest, with how this weekend has been going and all the shifting around. Jamie Simmons does have a bit of a drop off in points after Ariel Lowen. So Lowen has 432, and Jamie Simmons and Annie Thorsdottir are tied with 388. But I feel like these events have been, you know, everyone has, most people at least have a not good event and a great event. Although, looking at Emma Lawson, like her worst finish is 15th, which isn't that bad. These women at the top have looked like the top women for most of the weekend. They've just sort of been switching around their positions. Let's scroll down to see who we lost. Just take a look at who was cut. So the first person, I believe, not cut is in 30th, that's Sydney Wells, so she will continue on this weekend. But the first person actually cut is Kelly Baker, Fee Sagafi, Matilda Garnes, and then it looks like Emma McQuaid withdrew because she has some more points than some of the people ahead of her, but came in 40th in Helena. Doesn't look like she started. So those are the women we lost, but we still have 30 people, 10 more will be cut tomorrow. So let's move on to the men's side. So in the men's side, still in first, we have Roman Krenikov. It is, I guess, slightly closer than it was before this last event. He is only 100 points ahead. I think he was 105. So, I mean, we can call that closer. His worst finish is still 9th in ski bag. So he's got a 4th, 1st, 5th, 1st, 9th, 5th. Just a fantastic weekend for Roman. And You probably saw it at the beginning, so I think I'm gonna put it at the beginning too. I haven't edited this yet, but he had a really nice moment with Dave Castro. So if you didn't see it, stay tuned for that in the press conference. Chandler Smith was second going into Helena? I don't know. He was second going into it. Now he's in third. The person who won that event, Jeff Adler, he is now in second with that first place finish. But points are close there, 443, 432. Brent Fikowski is over in fifth. Jay Crouch still hanging around in fourth. BKG, who I said going into this is a top 10 athlete, even though he didn't look great at semifinals, he's always a top 10 athlete and is still in the top 10. He's in sixth. We saw Pat Melliner make up some work. He had a pretty cool finish in Helena. He was racing, so he finished sixth and is doing better, moving his way up the leaderboard as you'd expect. Yellow Hoste is still doing really well, and that I feel like was a surprise, and he's still doing well. He's in eighth, Bailey Martin in ninth, and 10th is Jonakowski. And Spencer Panchek, who was near the top of the leaderboard going into today, has slipped a little bit. He had some tough events with the sandbag. He looked like he was really struggling there. So maybe he'll make his way back into the top 10, still have literally half the events to go. Let's take a scroll down as well here and look at the athletes we lost on the men's side. I believe we have some bigger names. So in 31st is Jason Hopper, and I feel like a lot of people expected Jason to do some big things this weekend and are probably a little disappointed to see him finish in 31st. You kind of wonder if something else is going on there. We'll see, time will tell. Cole Grayshaber, who had a win in the inverted medley, is in 33rd, so he was cut. Cole Sager, just a big name, 10th year at the games, he was also cut. Alex Vigneault. So a couple big names that I think we didn't expect to see below that cut line are gone, but we still have a lot of great athletes. We should take a look at Justin Medeiros too, just because he's had a rough weekend. He was in 12th going into Helena. Now he is in 16th. He took a 30th place finish in Helena, which is disappointing. I think at this point, the best hope for Justin Medeiros is a top 10 finish. And I hate to say that, but there's starting to be a little bit of a separation between that podium more than there was going into Helena. So he was only about 50 points out of the podium going into Helena, and now 432 is the podium, and he has 321. So now he is more than 100 points out of the podium. So I think it's getting a little bit more difficult. I think top 10 is what he has to hope to do this weekend. Oh, and speaking of him, his girlfriend, Ellie Turner, I think she is injured. I haven't seen it anywhere. I'll check and before I put this up, see if I see anything. But she looked like she had a back issue going on in Helena. She was the only athlete time capped. And when she came back for her final set of bar muscle ups, the crowd definitely got behind her. They were cheering, and it was awesome to see, but unfortunate to see that she is hurt or looks like she's hurt. Anyway, enjoy the press conference. That'll be after this. I think I'm just going to put the whole thing, unless I have to chop it a little bit to try to keep this video from being super long. That's why there isn't any teams in here, because I just feel like with how long these individual videos are, focusing on just the individual athletes, if I put the teams in here, these would be crazy long and I would have no time to edit them because they'd be at the team events. So just individuals this year. Hope you're enjoying it. Make sure you subscribe if you did enjoy it. There's 2 more videos to come at least on the games. Like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.
We have Dave Castro from CrossFit here, Emma Lawson, Alexis Raptis, Chandler Smith, and Roman Krenikov. We're not going to waste any time. We're just going to jump right into the questions. So members of the press, please raise your hand. We'll have a mic brought to you. Please introduce yourself and the media outlet that you are representing.
Amy from Clydesdale Media. Chandler, welcome back.
Hey, good to be back.
You look so composed out there and like you're having so much fun. Does being a newlywed and having your wife compete here at the same time have something to do with that?
Well, I don't know how accurate you are about the being composed part, but if I'm faking it, or you fake it till you make it. It's been really cool that I've had the chance to share this experience with my wife. You guys don't know, my wife's competing on one of the teams out here, and I feel like, just part of being married is always making sure that you have that emotional availability for your spouse as well. So, I can't get as wrapped up with my stuff. I also have to make sure I'm able to be there for hers, and knowing that she's got a bunch of other stuff going on with her team and stuff maybe has helped a little bit. So, as always, one of the things I learned from my parents and some people in my family is always give credit to my wife, so I'm going to give her the credit for the composure that you see.
If you have a question, please raise your hand.
Hi, Jamie with Clydesdale Media. My question's for Alexis. You're doing amazing. Out of 6 events, 5 top 5 finishes, and then a little hiccup in ski bag. Going in tomorrow, do you focus on the 5 top 5s? Do you focus on what went wrong in ski bag, or do you focus on none of it?
I feel like I just proved to myself over the past couple days that I belong and that what we've been doing is working, but none of that really matters tomorrow. It's a clean slate, so I'm just focusing on what I have to do in the moment and not focusing on any of the workouts ahead. So right now I'm just thinking about the 5K run.
Yeah, girl. We'll go here in the back row.
Barkley from Be Friendly Fitness. Emma, how does it feel to get back into the leader jersey, and what do you think about the events tomorrow?
It feels really good. I've been fighting hard for this morning and today to try to get it back, so I'm super over the moon, but of course we're only halfway through the competition, so there's still a lot more work to do, but going into tomorrow, I'm super excited, and I think it's going to be another good day.
On the far end, Scott.
Scott Switzer with Clydesdale Media. This is for Roman. Roman, you've put together an epic first half of this competition. Is not having the stress of trying to get into the country this year helping with that?
Что я здесь или как? Окей. Да, я абсолютно не стрессую в этом году, тем более, что я готовился полноценно здесь весь сезон. Приехал за 2 недели в Мэдисон на своей машине. Мэдисон мне уже как дом, потому что я здесь жил 6 месяцев. Я на своей машине сам приезжаю сюда за рулем, слушаю музыку, пока еду сюда, чувствую себя как дома. Как будто езжу просто на тренировку, и мне за это еще хорошо заплатят.
He feels like the not having a stress of being able to come to United States is definitely helpful. Like living in America and preparing, it's been a huge plus for his training. And he came to Madison about 2 weeks ago on his car, all the way from Cookeville. He just drives around. Madison for him is his hometown. He lived here for about 6 months or 9 months. So he just drives here in his car, listens to the music, like going to the gym, just training, and he's gonna get paid really well.
We'll go here in the back row.
Tyler Watkins from Heat 1 app and Barbell Spin. Dave, I have a question for you. A few years ago, you stopped naming the tests. What was the inspiration behind bringing name tests back?
This year, the name tests that was kind of the team. They decided to keep them. I think they might have done that last year. I did 2 years ago. I kind of, after a number of years of programming them and all the names that were coming out, and what I saw in the community, how other workouts were being named, I just kind of wasn't into it. So I said that year I wasn't going to have any names. But this year they had names for them, and I think I'm in the minority when it comes to that decision of not having names. So, I kind of came into the game a little late this year. So there's a lot of things like that that just rolled forward.
We'll go to Tegan over here.
But it's fine. Like I don't look at that, and I have no issue with it.
Tegan, Morning Chalk Up. Dave, this is a question for you. This is our last Friday Night Lights in the Coliseum in Madison. Can you name some pinnacle moments over the last several years for you in the Coliseum?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I remember vividly when Brooke broke her arm, and I was standing right next to one of the docs. It was actually Sean Rocket, and I grabbed him and said, "Get over there." And like, it was, that one I think is etched into my brain forever because it was so close and it was right there. There's some misses on some events that I remember. I usually focus on the things that went wrong and remember those the most. Some of the time caps not working or whatnot. And we've had some epic finishes with Cara Sanders and Tia battling against each other a number of years ago that really stand out. The pull-up and thruster workout where Noah came off the bar and I thought if he would have stayed on, he might have won. Stuff like that.
As a follow-up to that, I would like to go down the line, if you don't mind. I know you're all you may not have a lot of experience here in Madison, but what are some of your favorite moments in the Coliseum, looking back on the short time that you all had? We'll start with Alexis.
Echo Press last year was mine. Having an event win in the Coliseum is insane. Like the crowd, the energy, everything about it. Yeah, it was a moment that I'll probably remember forever.
Emma?
For me last year, I forget the name of the event, but the one with the parallel bars and the squat cleans. I think that one was, I'll always remember that one. That was the one event last year that I was able to wear the leader's jersey. So the energy in there and running out into that Coliseum was, something I'll never forget.
Chandler?
Sorry,
I already went.
Okay. It would definitely be earlier today. I've had the chance to have some really cool battles back and forth with this guy. He's an amazing athlete, and this was like one of the rare occasions where I've been able to keep up with him. And so how the crowd responded as we were doing the sandbag squats is something I'll never forget, and I'm really grateful to you guys for that. So appreciate y'all.
And Roman?
Hey guys, look, it's Matt Frazier. He's over there.
Hi, Matt. Для меня самый такой запоминающий, будем брать эти игры. Сегодня приседание с мешком, когда этот чувак обогнал меня. Фанаты просто так закричали, когда он прыгнул на финишную линию, и я делал свой последний повтор. Мне кажется, меня аж ветром отнесло криком. Это было очень громко. Это я запомнил сегодня.
Yeah, he's gonna go with the event this year. This the one that Chandler was just talking about. And this dude jumped on the thing, and all the crowd started screaming. And he felt like the big wave of a noise came into him. He thought he was gonna fall backwards. So thank you very much for that.
All right, we can come back to the floor. If anyone has a question, please raise your hand. Do we have anyone online? Okay. Carlos, if you can hand the mic.
This is an online question for Roman. With about a 100-point lead going into tomorrow, how do you avoid complacency? What do you do to keep the focus and keep pushing?
Вообще не думаю об этом, если честно. Стараюсь фокусироваться так, как будто у меня 0 очков отрыв, и чтобы у меня, не давать себе слабину, не давать расслабиться организму, ментально не дать себе расслабиться. Так что всегда настраиваюсь так, как будто у меня нет никакого запаса, и мне надо показать себя на 100%.
He doesn't think about it much. He pretends that he has 0 points ahead. He's very focused. All he's trying to do is to work hard, and he has no points ahead, and he's going to just work hard and show you his best.
All right, we have time for just a few more. We'll go back to Melissa.
I actually have a question for you, Chandler. I'm Melissa with CrossFit.com, and a couple years ago, you were gracious enough to let us chronicle your journey going to the level 1, getting your certification there. I'm wondering if there's anything from that experience that you've carried over with you into the competition and your experience just as an athlete in general. What's the impact of that long term with you?
I think the experience of going to the level 1 was it couldn't have come at a more perfect time because it came right before I missed the games last year. And in wrestling, there's always a big focus, and wrestling's my background sport. There's always a big focus on making sure that you drill the basics, and you never rise to a point where you don't need to drill the basics and have mastery over those. So after I missed, I was forced to kind of reevaluate everything I was doing training-wise, and having a good foundation of understanding what the basics of the sport that I'm training for were, and which I had coming fresh off of the L1, allowed me to make sure that the plans I made going forward were, solid from a training and methodology standpoint. And I think between Rogue and how this event has gone so far, I think there's a lot to be said about what the L1 did to help me prepare for those moments.
Damn, let's cut that and get that on CrossFit.com.
Roman.
Я хотел бы сказать, если сейчас все закончится, просто хотел сказать одно сообщение для Дэйва перед всеми, что когда я начинал заниматься кроссфитом, то смотрел опены ночью, вставал, не спал, как Дэйв открывает опены. Для меня это было вот таким, волнительным. И, я только начинал заниматься кроссфитом, о играх даже еще не мечтал. Конечно, была небольшая цель в голове, что я попаду на игры, но сейчас сидеть с этим человеком, я очень рад, что он вернулся и сидит сейчас рядом со мной. Это для меня такая мечта. И вот хочу, чтобы он услышал от меня эти слова при всех.
This is a message for Dave. Dave, he just wanted to tell you that long time ago, he woke up in the middle of the night and watched Open when he just started CrossFit. He never could dream about coming to the games, but he hoped and he set a goal. For him, you're his hero and idol. So he just wanted to tell you that sitting next to you at this table means a lot to him. So thank you so much for being with us this year. Just really wanted to tell you that before he goes. Thank you.
Well, with that, I think the only thing we can do is ask Dave if he has any surprises up his sleeve, working with Adrian for the next couple of days for the 4 people next to you and the others who are standing out there waiting to learn.
I think we should end this. I'm going to ask one of those kids in the back. You guys want a hat? I want to give you my hat. So come on up here. Come up to the thing so I can give you my hat. Thank you guys all for coming. Appreciate the time. I'm going to give you a hat.
Thank you all, and we will see you back here tomorrow.